Hi, Com 610 720. It's Donna Maria. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you had a wonderful spring break or modular week, as we call it at Regent. I just want to let you know for the doctoral students, Dr. Brown has your grades uploaded into Blackboard. For the master's students, I'm coming. I'm working on it as fast as I can, and I'll have those updated and provided to you by 5 o'clock tomorrow. That's my goal. Okay. All right. So, as indicated in every forum, if you post the minimum, which is 20 posts, you'll get 100% participation grade for that week. If there were 20 posts, answering all the questions posed and respond to 3 or more of your classmates for each question. If you did less than the minimum, then you will receive a percentage of points for that based on what you contributed. There will be a second forum grade for the second half of the class, and those will be for forums 9 through 15. So if you want to earn all the forum credit for that, then just do the post the minimum requirements and you will. Okay. All right. So as Dr. Brown stated, there will be no new forum questions. There were no new forum questions last week. You were just to post a short description of your final project and your paper and look at the proposed projects of 2 or 3 of your classmates. Great job on your annotated bibliographies. They look really good. I mean, for the most part, everybody did a fantastic job. So good job with that. If you received any feedback regarding APA formatting, I would encourage you to go to the library. The Regent Library has an amazing resource there. Denise Cruz is a wonderful point of contact. She can help you with APA formatting, anything that you might need in that regard, okay? All right, let's see. Let's jump into the discussion posts. 2 ways of fragmentation. Phillips explains that transmedia storytelling takes place in 2 possible ways that both end in fragmentation. What are these 2 ways? Provide one example from popular media of this fragmentation process and identify which of the 2 processes your example represents. Julie, thanks for your example of Star Wars. Julie, just like you, totally aging myself on this, but regardless of your age, some things stand the test of times, and Star Wars certainly has stood the test of time with the sequels and the prequels. Thanks for jumping into the conversation, Holly and Trisha and Nathan. Nathan, I agree with you. It is fun to see how the characters continue to tell a story. And you make a great connection with the DC and Marvel comics as well. Certainly, storylines will continue to develop over time, and I certainly appreciate your statement, Nathan, regarding waiting for schedules to become less hectic. Yes, when we can all enjoy movies. I know tonight my husband and I were watching. We swore we were just going to take time together and sit down and watch a movie. And we watched Soylent Green. And if you guys haven't seen this movie, it is a 1970s sci-fi movie. It seems less far-fetched today in 2023, the farther we move from the word. But we were watching this, and I couldn't help but think about the veiling of truths and the grotesque discussion from last week's discussions when you guys were talking about Flannery O'Connor, and I couldn't help but think about the veiled atrocities of this film. And there was a visceral nature to it. And this is a broken world, and I truly do wonder what Jesus would say about this film, most importantly regarding the sanctity of life. Okay, the next question had to do with the 4 creative processes of transmedia storytelling. Daryl, kick things off with defining Philip's 4 creative processes in transmedia storytelling. Good job with that, Daryl. Talks about world building and characterization and backstory and exposition. Daryl cites Breaking Bad as an example of this characterization. Yes, Breaking Bad. How is it that Vince Gilligan gets us to root for a meth cooking drug lord? Hello? I sympathize with Walt, or Heisenberg, as he's come to be known. I mean, he has personally killed 24 people. Yet, we're in Walt's corner. The writers, they massage our thoughts and our emotions, and then suddenly, whoop, here we are cheering on a meth cooking drug lord because he's a nerdy chemistry teacher who is battling cancer and struggling financially and has a baby on the way and a special needs teenager, right? So I suspect, you guys who have seen the show probably think of him as a noble man who just wanted to protect his family. So, okay, well, we could go on and on about Breaking Bad, but next subject I love. Y'all mentioned Harry Potter, Holly and Cassie. I tell you, I love Harry Potter. Holly, your Ravi Puff amalgamation, it's fantastic. It's too fun. I'm consistently a Gryffindor, just every time I've taken it. Nathan thoughtfully examines the problems of transmedia adaptation, stating, quote, "It can be easy to tread on what others consider sacred ground without realizing the consequences. While this can be usefully used to help disrupt us from our lofty positions of religion and remind us that we have built false, sacred cows, it can also be used to unnecessarily offend others and keep them from the truth we are trying to present. The key seems to act prayerfully and carefully." I love that. "Otherwise, we might find ourselves playing defense rather than using the moments going forward." Nathan, this is an awesome point. And as we read last week, this is one of the strengths of indirect communication, right? So point well taken. Really good job tying in last week with this week. I love that. That is learning. That is moving the ball forward. Thank you for making that connection. That was awesome. Okay, fine tune for depth or scale. Phillips claims, quote, "There is an inherent tension between making a narrative that is very rich and deep and making a narrative that scales to a larger audience but is shallow." Daniel, Andrea Phillips said, quote, and I like that you bring in, quotes from the book. That's important. "Most businesses would say without hesitation that their priority is to make something as mass audience and accessible as possible. Regarding financial profitability, Daniel mentions the Batman films. That's a great example. Nathan says, Phillips argues that it is quite difficult to make the platform for transmedia both deep and shallow. While it seems to be impossible in some cases, it demonstrates the difficulty of sharing the story effectively. This seems to be especially important as Phillips notes that even the best story will be lost if it's not platformed correctly. Yes, it reminds me of the necessity to carefully plan, here comes Nathan again, and carefully pray. Thank you, Nathan, over whom the audience is specifically supposed to reach. As we think about this, and I'll get back to this quote from Nathan in a second. But Nathan, you make a really good point, because isn't that what we do in communication? One of the first rules of public speaking, know your audience, right? Okay, I digress. Let's go back to what Nathan was saying. If we know the specific audience, then we can adjust it to make it especially effective for reaching them. If we are simply trying to get the story and message out there, then we will lose the opportunity to make it as rich as a story as we originally intended. In many ways, this demonstrates the importance of allowing thinkers to walk alongside the creative pushers, that the message is not lost in the forest. That is a point very well taken. Nathan, I learned so much from you. I'm so honored to call you my colleague, and I remember the first time I met you in our cohort at Regent, and I just, you just continue to just be fantastic. So I'm really excited for all of your classmates that we all get the opportunity to continue to share together. Okay, let's see. Why does Phillips stress that you need to create interactivity to produce deeper engagement? Julie and Daryl. Phillips stresses that you need to create interactivity to produce deeper engagement because it adds depth. Quote, audience members can be electrified by the spectacle of the other, more active participants reaching out and seeing the story reaching back. That's from Phillips on page 96. However, Phillips points out that it is always important to remember not to push passive members away. The participants can also drive the narrative of the plot. Good point, Julie and Daryl. Okay. All right. Share a personal example from your own life or family and circle of friends that illustrates the principle of interactivity as described by Phillips. Kiri, here she goes. One of the things Phillips discusses about interactivity is having a, quote, robust infrastructure that was explicitly outside of the story world, which made sure, quote, that there was place for the audience members to turn when they weren't quite sure what was going on or what to do next. That was really good. Thank you, Kiri. Good point. Holly, following up with that, gave the Pottermore example. Julie gave the Sopranos as an example. And Daniel chimed in with Animal Farm in 1984 from Orwell. So those were all really great examples. Guys, you did a great job this week. Again, master students, I promise you I'm going to get your grades entered tomorrow by 5 o'clock. I did take a break tonight, and like I say, watch Soylent Green with my husband. I encourage everyone here, since you clearly have an interest in storytelling, to watch that movie. It really is something. If you have any questions, please don't feel shy to reach out to me or Dr. Brown. My email, donwa3, DONNW a3@regent.edu. And I pray for all of you every day. You're on my prayer list. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything, okay? Great job. Keep up the good work. You're doing great. Just stay in it, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye, friends.